Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
On a Friday, it's all leaving with your boy Barrington Grant. I'm so excited for today's show. There's a lot to get to. Gonna talk a little baseball. Baseball is back. The NFL and the Players Association have looked like they come to an agreement. The head coaching search heats up in New York for the Knicks. And there's trouble with the Jets. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. There's some new contestants for that, so I'm very, very excited. So let's just jump into it. So baseball has agreed to expanded playoffs for the upcoming season. And that's great stuff for Major League Baseball. You're going to have 16 teams in the playoffs. Seeding will be 1 through 8 for each league. Your 3 division winners will have the top 3 seeds based on record, and the runner-ups to those divisions will have 4, 5, and 6 based on their records. And then you have your 2 wild cards that round out 7 and 8. So it's really going to be interesting, as well as that wild card playoff round is going to be 3 games, and all 3 games will be hosted by the number 1 team in the league. So it's really, really going to be interesting. I like this format. I've been waiting for a format like this for such a long time in baseball. So what does this actually mean? This means that baseball has finally come into the modern era. Their playoffs are one of the best playoffs in any sport. You got baseball, hockey playoffs are really exciting. Everybody knows about basketball playoffs, and the NFL playoffs are the NFL playoffs. They're phenomenal. But the more baseball you give us, is the better it's going to be come postseason time. So I don't know why this took so long, but kudos to Rob Manfred to getting this done. And like I said, this season is going to be a lot of experimenting. If there's ever a time to really try to do different things, it's this year. So why not just put it all out there? DH in each league, expanded playoffs, show that expression, that emotion from these players. Promote them, advertise them, and put them back on the forefront. Put them back on the national spotlight, the national scene. That's what baseball needs. So, I've bashed Manfred in the past, but I really have to give him respect for this one because it's a really, really, really great idea, and it can only better the sport and bring more eyes to the sport in the future as well. There are so many good teams year in and year out in baseball that just miss out on the wild card or just miss out on the division title. And now this gives more teams a chance to gain revenue for their team, for their organization, as well as keep their fans invested in their team. This is such a win-win for the players, for the fans, for Major League Baseball that you're kind of shocked that it didn't happen before. Now, what can we really expect? We can probably expect playoff runs sort of like hockey where, if a team gets hot, it doesn't matter if they're the 8th seed. It doesn't matter if they're the 1 seed. It doesn't matter if they're 7 or 5. If they get hot, it doesn't matter who they play. They may be able to ride that wave all the way to the World Series. That's one of the main reasons why I love hockey so much. Yes, I'm a black guy that loves hockey. But what I'm saying is that the NHL playoffs are full of suspense. You just don't know what's going to happen. And because of that, you're glued to your chair. You're just glued. You just don't want to get up. That's what the baseball playoffs are now going to be. So, Mr. Manfred, you were on my list. You are now off the list for the time being. Congratulations. And in some breaking news, the NFLPA and the NFL have come to an agreement amending the CBA for the upcoming season. This is great news for both parties to get this deal done to see if we can have some football this season. Now, there were definitely a lot of protocol issues that they still have to work through. I think the players are getting a little bit more comfortable with this. According to the reports, the salary cap will be set at $198 million for this year and then go down to $175 for the 2021 season. May go up $10 million or so depending on how good they do revenue-wise for this COVID year. I think the biggest thing for this deal is that if there is any stoppage of play, the players won't get paid for those games that are not played. So no play, no pay. For those players who also choose to opt out of the season, there's a $350,000 stipend for high-risk guys and $150,000 stipend for players who are not deemed high risk. So, you're getting something if you decide that it's not in your best interest to play in this particular season due to family issues or personal health issues. So, it's something. I thought it would be a little more because it is the NFL and they have a ton of money, but it is something for your lower end players that weren't going to get a check at all. So kudos to them. Kudos to them. Coming up next, my opinion on if the NFL has done enough to repair their image, as well as some Mets and Yankees baseball, some NBA scrimmages that took place yesterday as well. On a Friday, it's all even.
I am so stressed because I hate my job.
Let me guess. You're at a dead-end job and find it hard not to press the snooze button? Well, come down to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. We have campuses in Westbury, New York, Boston, Connecticut, New Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Develop your skills in broadcast media that include audio production, television, radio, and sports broadcasting. Learn from industry professionals in a small, intimate class setting for a better experience. The hands-on training is second to none. And if you're worried about what to do after graduation, the Connecticut School of Broadcasting helps you to get job placement. Take it from me. It took me 7 years to get here, and it's been the best time of my life. Go to gocsb.com or dial 1-800-887-2346 for a studio tour. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next media superstar.
Welcome back. So, I was having a conversation with my friend last night. He said to me, why should the NFL go above and beyond for the player's safety? If you want to play, you play. If not, then whatever. And my answer to that is, who would ever sign up to work in an unsafe work environment? If you're not a construction worker or a police officer or you work in the military, if you just have a regular 9-to-5 job. So let's compare this to a regular 9-to-5 job. You work in sales and the carpet hasn't been vacuumed in 6 weeks. The air quality in the room or in the building is terrible. And they're telling you that, yeah, well, you got to sign this waiver and come into work anyway. We're not going to fix any of this, but you need your job, right? You need to work. So you have to come here. No, I don't. I'm going to come there when you guys make sure that this place is safe for me to work. Otherwise, you're going to have a ton of lawsuits on your hands, as well as a big PR issue. So the NFL has had this PR issue dating back some years now in regards to players' transgressions off the field, bad decisions that the NFL has made, certain things that just look terrible on their part in the public eye, and this is just another one of them. The NBA got their stuff together. They made sure that player safety was on the forefront of their restart. They put themselves in a bubble and got everybody tested and made sure that these players don't leave the bubble. And if they do leave the bubble, they have to go back into quarantine for a certain amount of time. Major League Baseball is also doing well as they don't have a lot of COVID cases to begin with right now, which is a great thing. So player safety in these two leagues are at the forefront and they're doing all they can. While on the other side of it, you have the NFL saying, oh, well, yeah, we were told by the doctors that these protocols need to be followed, but we don't really think we should follow them, and maybe the players won't really care. Yeah, they do care, because guess what? They're human. The NBA has a mask protocol. They want you to wear masks while you're there, as well as when you're having interviews on TV. That is a huge deal. You know why? Because sports in this country always sets the example, right? Whether you want to admit it or not, athletes are our idols. We want to be like them. We admire these guys. And if they're wearing masks, we're going to follow suit. It's a great image to portray to your country that's struggling with this issue right now. You know, if elected officials are telling you that, you can wear a mask if you want to, and your sporting leagues are wearing masks and you'll always see them with their masks, that's a responsible thing to do. We are going to follow suit. And the NFL needs to fall in line with the NBA and Major League Baseball. I'm speaking to the NFL right now. Aren't you tired of looking bad in the public eye? Get it together. It's not that hard. There's so many quote-unquote intelligent people running the NFL ship, but yet they act like dummies. It's not that hard. On a lighter note, we have baseball. Yankees versus Nats. Man, Garrett Cole he's phenomenal. He gave up that early homer, and that was it. It was lights out after that. Complete game. If he's going to pitch like that, the Yankees are going to be right where they want to be, and that's in the World Series. A lot of people say Garrett Cole was the player of the game, but my player of the game was Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, you saw a guy that was relaxed, poised at the plate, wanted to put his 2019 season behind him. And guess what? He just may be one of those guys that I was telling you about that benefits better, thrives better without the fans. Yankee fans are brutal. You know, especially if you're not considered like a lifer or a homegrown talent, they really won't accept you. It took a long time for them to accept Alex Rodriguez. And if it wasn't for 2009, they probably still wouldn't accept Alex Rodriguez. So Stanton has a lot to prove with Yankee fans, but if the fans aren't there, he can just be able to just perform and mash the way he wants to, and hopefully stays healthy. And my beloved Mets played today. DeGrom was the great. It was phenomenal to see. 8 strikeouts over 5. We shut down those Atlanta batters. And then Yoenis Cespedes didn't play in 2 years. Hits the go-ahead solo shot, and we win the game 1-0. Pitching is going to be the Mets' strong suit. But what people really shouldn't underestimate is the offense. The Mets lineup is really, really decent. And if Yoenis Cespedes can give them anything that comes close to the 2016-17 Yoenis Cespedes, they have a real shot at making some noise in the postseason. Because I do believe that the Mets are going to be a postseason team. Whether they win the division is another story. But we're going to see how this season unfolds. But they really have a good team. And I think that their team may be suited for this sprint to 60 games. So hopefully as a Mets fan, I get 2 Christmas gifts from the Mets this year. One is a World Series, and the other one is finding out who bought the Mets from the Wilpons, because that's all I care about. I don't care if it's the Hamburglar. I don't care if it's Ronald McDonald. I don't care if it's Barney. I don't care who it is. Someone needs to buy this team so we can move on and be happy for once. Not have this strain over us and say, oh, God, the Wilpons own the team. We don't have a shot. Nobody's going to spend any money. Nobody's coming here. We are done being the bargain bazaar in Major League Baseball. The Mets remind me of like going to Jamaica Avenue when you go to that store where it has the big bin of sneakers that's in the front, and you can just pick a pair of sneakers and hope that it doesn't bust off your feet. That's what being a Mets fan feels like. Whatever decisions we make, we hope that it turns out well, knowing that it may not. So turning to the NBA, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I love the setup in the bubble. It looks great in there. I saw the Lakers versus the Mavs last night, and I love the purple silhouette on the court. You know, you had Lakers stuff everywhere. It was a nice visual. It was really good. And then you saw, you know, they have the seating, everybody's spaced out. You know, there's protective boards for the scorekeepers. It literally felt like playing rec ball. It felt like being in those gyms. There's not really a lot of people in the stands, and all you hear is trash talking, sneakers, and the basketball dribbling. So for me, it seems a little bit more personal. It feels more like you're playing, or you're just going to watch a game at a rec gym. So thumbs up to the NBA, thumbs up to Adam Silver for creating a real basketball environment. It's beautiful. After the break, the Knicks zero in on their next head coach, and Jamal Adams is at it again. Stick with me. It's all leaving. This is a public service announcement. Down on your luck? Tired of being curved? Sick of going out with the fellas and being the only loser without a lady? Well, I got something for you. It's called Sex Panther. Legend has it that it's made out of real bits of real panther, so you know it's good. To men, it stings the nostrils. But to women, you may as well be a slab of meat in a dog pound. And that's not all it does. You could be getting ready to see that special fox and disaster hits. No money in the budget for gas, only dinner for two. No problem. The fumes from Sex Panther can give your car 38 miles to the gallon. Sold you yet? I thought so. For $69.99, go from unlovable loser to the cock in the walk. Sex Panther. 60% of the time, it works. Every time. Back at it. So the Knicks have zeroed in on their next head coach. It's not who you think it is. All the reports saying that Tom Thibodeau, was working out some contract details and looked imminent that he was going to be the coach. No. It's Jason Kidd. They've turned their attention to Jason Kidd now as talks have stalled with Thibs. Honestly, I think this is a great thing for the Knicks to not have Thibs anywhere near the organization. He's a disaster. And I don't know if he's adept to the times, to the new athlete. We've seen what he did with Derrick Rose. I personally think, in my opinion, that he wore Derrick Rose down, which caused that Chicago Bulls team to break up earlier than they wanted to. So you don't want the same thing to repeat itself in New York with all this young talent that they have. You need somebody who's well respected. I'm not saying that Tibbs ain't respected, but Jason Kidd is an icon. He's a Hall of Famer. So when you have a guy like this that can be able to coach these young players, coach these young point guards, that's a benefit to them. That can only make them better players. Nobody wants that old-ass car anymore. When you go used car shopping, you look for the car that has the least amount of miles. That's like a big selling point. You don't go to the car that has 350,000 miles on it and questions about if it can take you where you need to go. No, you're going to go for the car that has less miles, that is actually a younger model, and that doesn't have that much tread on its tires. Jason Kidd fits that mold. He's younger, and you can be able to have your players grow with him. You can be able to have him make mistakes on the job and grow from those mistakes because he's a young coach. I'm still holding out hope that Mark Jackson gets the job, but if he doesn't get the job and Jason Kidd gets it, I think that's a very good consolation prize if you're the Knicks. There's also some rumblings that the Knicks are looking at Zach LaVine, to acquire Zach LaVine, and my thought about it is, aren't the Knicks tired of stalking other teams' players? Good grief, man. Just develop your own players. Stop worrying about somebody else's talent. Because we all know what happens when they come here. They're not the same player. They end up getting hurt. You have to sell them for pennies on the dollar, and then they turn into superstars elsewhere. So let's stop with that formula. Develop your own players and turn them into stars. And maybe teams will start calling you for your talent instead of you calling them, begging for their players, begging for a marquee guy to headline the Garden. Create your own guys to headline the Garden. Zach LaVine is a great talent, but he's not a leader. We've seen how the wheels came off the bus in Chicago, the attitude issues, the body language on the court. You think if they lose in New York, or if he loses in New York, it's not going to be the same thing? Why would you sign up for that? So I don't even want them kicking the tires. Don't throw a rock on the tire. Don't do anything. Just leave it alone. Make your own guys. Period. So switching gears to football, the New York Jets, Jamal Adams is at it again, y'all. Jamal Adams is hell-bent on getting traded from New York. And he doesn't care what he says. He doesn't care who he insults. He has turned his guns to Adam Gase. Says that Adam Gase is not the right guy to lead this team. He's not a great leader. He doesn't even give pep talks before the games. this is alarming. This is really alarming for one of your star players to call out your head coach this way. It's not a good look for Jamal Adams. It's also not a good look for the Jets organization, because there's always been some doubt with Adam Gase. But if one of your star players really is calling him out, it says more about Adam Gase than it actually says about Jamal Adams. Because I think that Jamal Adams is the mouthpiece for a lot of players that don't feel like talking up, that may be scared to talk up. So he's their advocate. You have to think about it like that. So what do the Jets do? Do you try to trade Jamal Adams for just anything just to get him out of your locker room? Or do you hang on to him, make that locker room toxic, and have more questions about how your head coach can get through to his star players? Le'Veon Bell, Jamal Adams. You're hearing all of these things come out, and it's not good. It's not good at all. And now you have allegations of Woody Johnson saying sexist and racial comments. Boy, the Jets are a dumpster fire. They're like that cousin who has issues and you're ashamed to be affiliated with them, because you know that there's a black cloud that just follows this person. And if you surround yourself with them, that black cloud is going to take you over too. Can we get Woody Johnson to sell the team as well? So maybe we can have 2 New York teams up for bid this year, the Mets and the Jets. I don't think that Woody Johnson's a power broker like how Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones are. So if there are some transgressions and some things that come out, I can see Roger Goodell and the other owners saying, you gotta go. You got to go. Because we don't want your stink following us. We don't want your stink coming to our organizations, and now people want our heads too. So we have to get rid of you. So I'm just going to sit back and eat some popcorn and just see how all of this plays out, because I don't see anything positive playing out for the New York Jets. All right, coming up, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. We have some interesting contestants for that on a Friday. It's all even.
Can't believe this is happening again. I'm sick and tired of this car.
We have all been there, stuck on the road with people to see and places to go, so your radiator is busted. No problem. A to Z Auto can have you back on the road in no time. I took my car to A to Z, had a nice cold beverage, and was out of there before I knew it. 42 years of service, you can bet that not only do they take care of your car, but they take care of you. Custom work, nobody does it better. Bob is knowledgeable and can diagnose the problem in a matter of minutes. From his 5-star reviews to the testimonials of customers' experiences, A to Z Auto is top notch. Located at 1048 Hortons Lane in South Hole, New York. Ask for Bob and let him handle the rest. For a free quote, call 631-765-6849 and never get stuck in the heat again. 95.5 Let It Fly FM.
We play the biggest classic rock hits.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler. This is Paul McCartney.
All the hits. Only on 95.5 WLIF.
Welcome back. Without further ado, it's Dummy of the Week.
Dummy.
On Monday, we had Antonio Brown as our first contestant, and today we have 2 more for Dummy of the Week. Our next contestant, I'm sorry to say it, but it's Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Did you guys see him throw out the first pitch for the Yankees and Nats? He made 50 Cent look like Nolan Ryan. I'm trying to think, if Dr. Fauci had children, like they never played throw the ball or throw a football or let's just play catch, where was he throwing that ball to? There's no way you can have children and play catch with them throwing like that. Go look at the video. Go look at the video and see his form, his technique. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. I am so embarrassed for him. I'm so glad that he's a smart man, an intelligent man, because if he had his life to do over again and he wasn't doing medicine, sports was not going to be his thing, and man, it would have been hard for him to get any chicks. So that is the runner-up for Dummy of the Week this week. And our winner, may I have the drum roll, please? And the winner is Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington football team. No, I'm serious. That's the name of the team for the upcoming season. The Washington football team. What the hell is this, 1925? You can't make this up. How stupid does this owner continue to be? I don't think I've ever met a Washington football team fan. And after this, I don't think anybody's going to be a fan of them. This is really, really bad. They say it takes 16 to 18 months to get a trademark. No. What happened was some guy bought out 300 names and you don't want to pay him. That's what happened. The Washington football team. This sounds like NFL films from like 1940. It was a cold day in Washington as the Washington football team gets off the bus. And there's nobody to greet them, so they have to go in by themselves. They take the field, and at the first play, the quarterback options left. He slips on his shoelace and fumbles the ball, and the opposing team takes it 80 yards down the field for a touchdown. They end up losing the game 95-0 as the Washington football team is embarrassed as they have no team plane to go to because they forgot to charter the flight. What an embarrassment they are. Listen, Dan Snyder, if you never win a Super Bowl, just know that you were the winner of Dummy of the Week. That's the show for this week. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all have a good weekend. Stay safe. Peace.